Bruce Hooley of Spielman and Hooley is on vacation, actually. But I wanted to get his take on it. I know he was on with Munch a little bit this morning. And Bruce, I guess it's not I saw your tweet last night. I thought you put it very well. It's different this time, and I said it to Stan earlier, too. I agree with you. It's not like anger, but it's just disappointment. You love the ride. You love the story of the Northeast Ohio kid staying there. And you would love for him to finish his career there. So it's more disappointment to me than it is anger.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. First of all, good afternoon to you, Stan and Campy. I am just sad, like I'd be sad if a friend of mine, if a friend of mine made a really bad decision when I'd counseled him the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this is going south. I liken this to like if a friend of mine was thinking about running off on his spouse, and I said, don't do it, man. Like, this bad idea. I know you'll think it's going to be great, and you're all excited about the new possibilities and all this, but trust me, there's a lot of things you're not factoring in. There's no way, if this finishes anything shy of a title for LeBron, that he comes out of it looking good. I mean, Magic's got 5 titles, as he'll be happy to tell you.
Yeah.
Kobe's got 5 titles, as he's quick to remind you. And if LeBron doesn't win a title with the Lakers, and I think even if he does, well, so what? You won 1, I won 5. I just don't see it happening, A, and I don't see any way it doesn't land on him, B. Now, the other aspect of that is I've asked people in Cleveland who know him, and they say he's fully aware of that. He doesn't care. He doesn't factor in failure. That's not how he thinks. And maybe at age 33, after 15 years in the NBA, he needs that challenge to go that much farther beyond where he's already been. But his first time in Cleveland, I was all about the results. His second time in Cleveland, I was about the results, but more how they related to his ultimate legacy. And he started to win some of those conversations. When he hit the shot against Toronto, my wife said, okay, I give up. He's better than Jordan. Like, she's always been a Jordan person.
Right.
And there have been a lot of people like that. He now pushes back into the middle of the table the MVP comparisons, the title comparisons, and all that. And as an admirer of him and as a guy who's come to care about his legacy, I hate that for him.
Yeah, no question about it. If he stayed in Cleveland and they never won another title, I think he would be forgiven for it. Now, maybe not by the national media, but I think everybody in Cleveland will be like, they blame it on Dan Gilbert or whatever. But to your point, in L.A., isn't the expectation that he's going to win a championship there? And if it doesn't happen, I don't know how it's going to go over for him.
You got a franchise with 16 titles. You got a franchise with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Irvin Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kobe Bryant. I mean, that is the standard there, and it should be the standard there. And he doesn't have the team there right now. I mean, the other part of this is, like, it's fine in the East to take nights off while you're out there in uniform. You take nights off against Utah, New Orleans, Denver, Portland, you're getting beat.
Yeah.
You can't take nights off in the West. I didn't mention Golden State and Houston. They're not better than Golden State or Houston. They're not better than Golden State or Houston in my mind, even if they get Kawhi Leonard. And I hate it for his legacy. I hate it for the fact that it's going to land on him. And already their roster is starting to look like rosters look when he leaves a team. He just has this thing where he trusts veterans and he gets these broken down, grabbing at straws.
Lance Stevenson.
Paycheck. Yeah, I mean, he's already starting to look like that out there. And I'll guarantee you this, the Thunder are going to buy Melo out. Melo's going to end up on the Lakers.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a disaster.
Yeah. And then they're going to end up being hamstrung. Now, look, obviously they're going to try to work out the Kawhi thing, or maybe next year in free agency get it. But I still don't know. LeBron and Kawhi, maybe that can get them over the top. But as constructed right now, Bruce, I still don't feel like they're close to the Warriors. I still don't feel like they're close to Houston. Stan and I were trying to figure out where they fall in Oklahoma City now. Paul George, somewhat going long-term here. Are they as good as Oklahoma City at this point? I know Magic's got more up his sleeve, Bruce, but he's got a lot of competition that he's going to have to get over to be a key factor in the Western Conference.
Here's the thing. I hear all this stuff about Ingram's a great player and Kuzma's a great player and Lonzo's a great player and Josh Hart's a great player. I've never seen an NBA game end 110-30. Somebody scores points, boys. Somebody scores points. Jordan Clarkson on the LA Lakers was the second highest bench scorer in the NBA.
Yep.
When games mattered, what was Jordan Clarkson?
What about Rodney Hood?
It's fine to Rodney Hood scored 16 points a game for the Utah Jazz. When the game is bigger, the pressure is bigger, and he's going to quickly lose patience with guys who can't deliver in big moments. And I just don't see it happening for him because they're going to sign another max, then they're going to be in cap hell, and then they're going to be grabbing veterans, and you can name them like I can: James Jones, Mike Miller, Shane Battier, Damon Jones, Donyell Marshall, Andy Varejao. I mean, it's everywhere he goes. It happened here the first time. It happened in Miami. It happened here the second time. It's going to happen there.
Visiting with Bruce Hooley, Spielman and Hooley on 105.7 The Zone. On vacation, we want to get his take on the LeBron James thing. Let me ask you this going forward from the Cavaliers' perspective. What do you do if you're Dan Gilbert, Kobe Altman now? He's gone. Is the best course to get rid of Kevin Love, to try to acquire some draft picks and just stink right away? Is the best course all right, let's – we still have an all-star, and let's see what we can do and be, try to be the 7-6 seed in the Eastern Conference. Where do you go if you're the Cavs?
The worst thing you can be in the NBA is a 6, 7, or 8 seed.
Yep.
I mean, it makes no sense at all. I heard Mark Schwab on with you. He absolutely nailed it. You've got to have a top 10 pick so you don't have to give Atlanta a first-rounder for Corver. You got to be a top 10 pick the next 2 years, and it turns into 2 second-round picks, and Schwabi's right. Nobody cares. Ask the Portland Trailblazers what kind of, personal satisfaction you get out of being the 6th best team in the West. Like, you just don't. It's just not. You got to get rid of Kevin Love. You got to try to get rid of contracts. George Hill comes off next year. K-Love will leave after this year, so he's in the same Artemi Panarin, Kawhi Leonard situation. A pretty good player. He's not as good a player as those guys, but he's a pretty good player who you can get something for. There's a value for Kevin Love in the league. And you got to start acquiring first-round picks. And you've got to point to 2022. I mean, you do. You have to just figure the next 3 years are lost years. LeBron will be a free agent again in 2022. And I firmly believe, and I'm not saying you sit and wait for him to come back and save you, because Stan will tell you, Father Time is undefeated.
Yes.
And he's great. But, hey, man, there's a big difference between being 33 than being 35 or 36. And playing tough Western Conference teams every night. But I think he can be an effective low-post player, and I'm with both you guys. Matt, I'm all about your marketing tack. And so I bring him back then, and I think he will. My prediction is he will finish his career in a Cavalier uniform.
Oh, God.
With Bronny, I'm telling you, Stan.
I predicted that like 6 months ago. And, if Bronny's not a great player, it makes it easier because then you can pick him in the second round and nobody cares.
No, I don't like that plan. I don't like it. No, I don't like
you
it
do that
at
with
all.
your son if you could. You would.
Would I do it with my son?
Yeah, sure you would.
Yeah, of course. But this is not LeBron's choice. It's Dan Gilbert and the boys. Like, how many times are you going to be left at the altar with this dude? I love LeBron.
And I agree with you on that.
I
Here's
love
the thing.
him. Think he's the greatest ever. But come on, man. We can't do this again. You can't. Look, what's the old adage? Fool me once, shame on me.
Yeah.
Fool me twice?
Yeah.
Or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, he just got you twice, Dan. Did you hear what Ty Lue?
Twice.
Ty Lue was.
I don't think he got him twice.
Ty Lue was completely taken off guard. Did you hear that?
Well, Ty Lue's completely taken off guard when,
Hey, he should be happy.
He gets a rebound with 4 seconds left in a tie game. He's too taken off guard to call timeout.
He should be happy about it, Bruce. He actually gets to be the head coach now.
No.
Yeah, exactly. His first-time head coach, Ty Lue. Chris Spielman will tell you that.
But do you think if Ty, if he was completely taken off guard, you think Dan Gilbert? I mean, Ty Lue really felt like they had a chance. He totally took it off guard.
I think that they had to know that this was a strong possibility, don't you think? I mean, and quite honestly, Bruce, shame on them if they didn't realize this was a large possibility. I think they were prepared for this.
The thing I've come to realize is LeBron James thinks different than everyone else. Like what was the national narrative? Well, he's not going to L.A. alone. Well, he did go to L.A. alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Paul George re-upped. Chris Paul re-upped. Well, I thought, hey, it's Philly or the Cavs, and he knows he doesn't fit in Philly. He's going to sign a 1-and-1. He's going to wait and come out next summer when Karl Anthony Towns and Porzingis and Jimmy Butler and Kyrie and all those guys are free agents, and then he's going to play the chess piece game. But he doesn't think like everybody else. So, okay. I mean, you can't question it. He's a billionaire businessman. And by the way, Rich Paul said on the Rich Eisen show 8 months ago, LeBron doesn't need to be in L.A. Stan's absolutely right on that. Rich Paul said people come to Detroit to meet with LeBron. He's like, they'll come anywhere to meet with LeBron. So the whole L.A. thing, because he has homes there or Spring Hill Entertainment's there, that's a coincidence. That's not a reason. But on this particular thing, Matt, you were correct. Dan would have got the blame if LeBron had re-upped in Cleveland and the team had fallen short. But what are we blaming Dan for, by the way? He spent more on salary in the 4 years LeBron was there than anybody in the NBA by $50 million.
Yep.
He spent $469 million on salary. He promised LeBron he wouldn't cut spending, and he didn't. He spent $130 million in luxury taxes, which is almost equal to what the entire rest of the NBA spent. So Dan Gilbert kept his bargain to LeBron James a second time. And I will tell you that Dan Gilbert's made mistakes, but the whole blame Dan Gilbert for losing LeBron a second time, that holds no water with me.
What do you think, real quick, before I let you go, because Stan and I were talking about this, assuming the Cavs don't win another title, which under Dan Gilbert as owner, which if they did, it obviously changes the narrative completely. But if they don't, and it's just the one title, and Dan Gilbert 10 years from now sells, what's his legacy in Cleveland? Is he looked upon favorably because he's the owner that got him the title, or is it like, man, you only won one title with LeBron?
Yeah, I think he's looked upon favorably because he got him a title. But there are people who don't like him. He's a little guy, and he's in the loan business, which a lot of people think is, less than honorable. So the Comic Sans letter the first time, he'll never live that down. But this letter was perfect for this time, and that letter was actually kind of perfect for that time. LeBron had quit on him in Game 5. He had shut the Cavs out of the process. LeBron didn't cover himself in glory, as we all know, with decision number one. Did Dan go overboard? Yes, of course he did. But Dan was trying to salvage it from a marketing perspective. He was trying to get the fans on his side back then, so I sort of understood it. He went a little bit too far. So I think Gilbert's legacy will resonate because I don't see the Browns winning a title anytime soon, and the Indians seem to have a knack for getting you close and breaking your heart. So we'll see how that goes.
Hey,
by
Bruce,
the way,
yeah,
you got to trade Artemi Panarin like today, and I'd ship Bob out of town too, because if Bob thinks he answered all the questions about him in the playoffs last year, he is nuts.
No, he still hasn't had a playoff game where he's allowed less than 3 goals. I don't know if I get rid of Bob. I know you say that.
If he wants 6 years, I'm getting rid of him.
Yeah, it depends on. You're right. It depends on what his asking price is and how that's going. But yeah, you don't want to be left at the altar like the Islanders are right now. That's for sure. Hey, Bruce, enjoy the rest of your vacay, bud.
Thank you, man.